Welcome back to Euphoric Evolution. I'm so excited to be here with you today. We're going to dive into the concept of detachment. This is something that so many people really struggle with, and it could be the thing that's keeping you from experiencing what it feels to actually have freedom, to create the abundance that you want to experience, wealth, deeper levels of connection with the people that you care about. It's a very important topic. So let's dive into, well, why does it matter? Why is it even important? You've got to understand first and foremost that when you are attached, whether it's being attached to a goal or a person, a partner, a friend, or even certain items or certain ideas, is that unknowingly or unconsciously outside of you is actually controlling you. It's actually what is dictating the decisions that you're making, the way in which you're behaving, the things that you're thinking, feeling, so on and so forth, are all a result or a response to the things that you are attached to, the things, the ideas, the opinions, the people, goals, etc. So, for those of you who are new, my name is Makosi. I'm also known as the Royal Shaman. I'm an executive spiritual advisor as well as a teacher for conscious leaders, guiding them to become legends, really. And I do that through my euphoric evolution methodology, which incorporates both quantum energetics as well as identity transformation. And we're able to create incredible businesses, lives as a result without hustling, forcing, overworking, so on and so forth. So, if you are new, welcome. And for those of you returning, I'm so glad to see you. So, let's dive in deeper. Well, first, we've got to understand that when we are attached, in this case, I'm going to talk about this as it relates to your goals, but you can just swap out the word goals for person or thing or idea. Okay. But I'm going to use goals. When you're attached, period, you are actually operating from the ego, not from having a big ego, but from the aspect of you that holds your identity, has certain perspectives, and moves in this world in a certain way. Now, there's nothing wrong with having an ego. It's just that we also have another aspect of us that I call our essence, right? So you may call this your soul, your spirit, whatever, your higher self. But this aspect of us is communicating all the time through intuition. So when we are attached to something externally, we are constantly listening to our ego versus being able to hear from the intuition, which is the voice of the higher self, right? So the ego really tries to be anywhere but actually in the present moment. It either is focusing on the past, so it does this through memories, replaying, oh, well, you remember when that happened, XYZ. We don't want that to happen. Or future, and this is through the imagination. So it's constantly happening and fantasizing about what the future might look like. However, our intuition is always communicating with us. Okay. It's communicating with us, though, in the present moment because the past and the future don't actually exist anymore, right? You can't, there's no actual way to go back to the past or go to the future. So the present is all that exists, and the intuition, this aspect of us, this voice is constantly trying to communicate to us. So, whenever you are focused on either the past or an imagined future, this is keeping you from feeling or keeping you feeling separate from what it is that you desire, a person that you love, a certain amount of money that you want to make, the, kind of notoriety that you desire, etc. This is an issue because this is literally the root of lack, okay? This keeps you feeling like who I am, what I am experiencing right now is not enough. I am not that. I don't have access to that. And so automatically the sensation or the feeling of lack comes in. So this means that essentially you want what you think you don't have, not realizing that actual, like, true soul desires come from desiring a certain experience or an emotion. Nobody actually wants their goals. You don't actually want a seven-figure business. You want what the seven-figure business will give you, or at least what you imagine a seven-figure business will give you. You don't actually want to be married, for example. You want how you think being married will make you feel. So, how can you begin to actually detach? Well, first, you've got to understand that you have access to all of the emotions at any given time. The best examples of this are actors and singers, right? At any given time, they are able to access certain emotions, certain feelings, and then communicate those to others. But we all have this ability to a degree. They're just really, really good at it. So you can start to detach by seeking evidence of that emotion or that feeling that you want to have right now. So for those of you who are watching this live on YouTube, you'll notice that today I'm wearing my black satin blazer. I love this blazer. And the reason why I'm wearing this as an example is because it gives me a sense of the experience that I desire to have. So let's say that you desire to have $1 million a year business. And the reason that you desire that is because you want to feel luxurious. You want to experience opulence. You want to um, live beautifully, right? So you can actually find evidence of that and tap into that feeling now. So for me, that feels like, soft fabrics on against my skin. It feels like I'm wearing a jasmine oud perfume. It feels like that, like rich, decadent scent, right? That is how you can tap into the feelings now. Okay. So this is literally how you can also begin to magnetize what it is that you desire, because now you're operating from this feeling. You're moving through your day from the vibration of blank. In my case, I'm using the example of luxury and opulence and richness and all that juiciness, right? Then I'm making decisions, and because I'm tapped into that vibration, okay? The other reason why you need to detach is a lot of people don't realize that it is incredibly repelling and not magnetic when you are attached. So, if you've ever had a conversation with someone, or a really great example of this is if you've gone out to a bar or a club, right? And there's someone who is so pressed on you, just all up in your face, right? Because they're attached to the idea of, like, oh my gosh, I want you. Automatically, you start going, ugh, right? And start pushing that person away. This is happening all of the time to our goals, to opportunities we want, so on and so forth. We don't realize that when we are so attached to having to have that thing or that person, etc., we begin to actually repel it. So we really have to understand that there is not something externally that's going to solve the feeling. Listen, having money is absolutely great. However, I know a lot of wealthy people who are still miserable, still in survival mode, still living paycheck to paycheck. And that is not what I want for you. Okay. So we can actually create abundance from the feeling of abundance instead of from the feeling of lack, which will solve that internal discomfort. Okay. So the other piece that I think is really crucial is to stop creating fantasies about there, or what's out there, or what's in the future. Notice how it probably some at some point in your past you had a fantasy about what it was going to be like when you experienced blank, hit $10,000 a month, met the partner you would go on to marry, had kids, graduated from college, right? Like insert whatever. You had a fantasy, an imagination about how amazing that was going to be. And this is not to say that it's not amazing. It's just that our mind loves to pretend that once we have this external thing, then all of the other problems, quote unquote, problems that go along with it won't exist. But there's nothing on this plane that is built like that, right? Like having kids is one of the most amazing things, in my opinion, not everyone's opinion. However, it is not always, hugs and bubble baths and joy. Sometimes it's very frustrating. And sometimes you want to pull your hair out and there's resistance and all of the things. That doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with having kids, right? Or that there's anything wrong with you or your kid. Sometimes it is just like the reality of the situation. So, the way that you can stop creating fantasies and actually be grounded and present in reality is start trying to see reality for what it is, not for the stories, the meaning that you imagined about that reality. Okay. So you can do this by looking at, you know, things that happened in the past and the stories you've told about it, and then ask, is that what actually happened? Start to notice when you add certain feelings or add certain opinions. Start to look at your life and the events that are happening as if it were just a movie with like a silent movie. No music, no um no certain lighting to influence the emotions of the scene, right? Just what is that reality? And how can you see the actuality of the situation? And then you can start to find or place a meaning that actually is much more serving for you. The next step that can help you with detaching is allowing yourself to be fulfilled now. Stop waiting for something out there to fulfill you and start looking for what is fulfilling to me right now, and fill your life with those experiences. Okay. So instead of the idea of like, when I have that success in business, when I finally have a million followers, when I finally get that partner, whatever it is, then I can, you know, find a voice teacher or invest in myself or, start this business that I want or make clothes. I was literally watching Next in Fashion last night on Netflix because my little girl self used to keep a notebook, a sketch pad of designs. And I was like, maybe I should get a sewing machine, or like start taking some classes to make my own clothes. Stay tuned. Maybe I will do that. I'm feeling into, does that feel exciting for me right now? Does that feel expansive and possibly fulfilling? Truth is, it kind of does. And notice that I don't need, I'm not trying to become a designer. I'm not trying to make money off of it. I'm not doing it for anything other than the curiosity, the expansion, the joy of what would it be like to take an idea in my head, put it on paper, and then bring it into this reality. I don't know. Could be kind of fun. So ultimately, this boils down to understanding that really everything you seek is within you right now. And I know that that sounds like, oh my god, everyone says that. That's so cliche, but it's true though. Our emotions are generated from within us. There are like two people can have the exact same experience and have a different emotional experience because our emotions are influenced by how we choose to perceive something, right? And so we can literally choose a perception and literally create emotions. In one of my, oh gosh, what was it? I think it was in Soul Ascension 101. I've created a lot of things. Soul Ascension 101 was a course that I created in 2019, I think. And um there is a challenge in there for you to create emotions without an external stimulus. And at first, it's really challenging. But once you actually are able to create those emotions, it's really empowering because you realize, like, oh my gosh, nothing made me feel this way. I made myself feel this way. So if I want to experience joy, I can choose that and experience joy. Um, does meditation help? Sure, you can do it through meditation, but I also just really like to do that in real everyday life. So, the last step or shift that you want to make is to focus on your evolution. Focusing on your evolution, focusing on the journey and how you're becoming who you're becoming, not just the end result of what you want. Did you get there? Did you not get there? Why is it taking so long? So on and so forth. When you do this, first and foremost, you are the only you are the only thing that you take throughout this entire life, by the way. That couch that you want, the partner, the like all of those things, which are incredible experiences to have, don't get me wrong. None of them last longer than you, and none of them spend more time with you than you. So, you and your evolution is your greatest asset. It is the thing that you will never lose, at least this lifetime, right? And your level of becoming gets to carry on through all stages of your life. So, to me, there's not a higher or more valuable investment than yourself. And I don't just mean that in monetary, definitely monetarily. However, it can also be, time with yourself. It can be investing in your well being, investing in your physical health, investing in, what you pay attention to, and what you are reading, and so on and so forth. So, if you really start to get that the reality that you are creating, the reality that you are experiencing in your life is a direct reflection of who you are becoming, or rather, who you've been in the past. Sometimes you get little glimpses into who you're becoming, but it's really there's a lot that's reflected about who you have been and who you are now in your reality. Then you can understand that the most valuable thing to shift is yourself, is your perspective, is the mastery of your way of being, because that is ultimately what creates the life that you desire. So, really quick plug, if you are interested in working with us and going through this process of identity transformation and really ready to step into your next level, you can, of course, always reach out to us at theroyalshaman.com. And today, I think I'm going to just leave it there. Quick shout out. Hey, Judith, Maya, who else is here? Red and Rugged. Hey. Hey, Christian. I love this. So I'm so glad that you spent a little bit of time with me today. I hope that this has been helpful for you and that you start to integrate this into your everyday life. So I will see you next week.